This episode of Champ and the Tramp is brought to you by Corona Seltzer. We just got their brand new variety pack, tropical flavors. My man, Mr. Effie over there, is sipping on one himself.
Yeah, man, I cracked pineapple pina. It's delicious, perfect for summer. Go get yours today at any liquor store in your neighborhood.
Real show, here we go. Real show, here we go. You know that it's gotta be that time, so this is what we chant. What keeps on getting them all amped in advance? Come on. You and I rocking out with Iron Man, F.E. You get the general's point of view on top of Roger's rants. Whenever tapping out, we're putting the most minutes in. You already know what that's about, you know that winners win. Crush whatever's on task, check the podcast. It's the Champ and the Tramp, let the bomb blast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Champ and the Tramp. We have a special guest in today. We have Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. Those of you that don't know who he is, he's got a big fight coming up. He's on he's fighting Tommy Fury, who is the younger brother of Tyson Fury. I'm sure most of you know who Tyson Fury is, but he is on the undercard of Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley, and he's ready to get after it. So thank you, brother, for coming on the show.
Oh, man, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to, showcase my speaking ability and trash talking. But thank you guys the most. I appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah, no, we've been checking you out, man. I know you've had, plenty of fights over in Bellator. How'd this whole thing come about? Like, how'd you link up with Jake? I know you're a sparring partner, obviously, for Tyron, and I believe you were a sparring partner for Ben Askren. How'd that all come about?
Well, I never met Tyron, but me and Tyron do have the same striking coach, Antonio McKee. I tried offering my assistance to Ben before, but me and Ben never linked up. How I met Jake, how it all began. All because I was trash talking on Twitter. Literally, I'm like, I had a friend named Dona Corby. He worked with MMA Island at the time. And he was, doing something. He ended up having BJ Flores, who is Jake's Paul's head trainer. I'm commenting. I'm saying, hey, Jake is ducking me. Tell him to come fight me. So BJ messaged me, said, hey, if you want to fight Jake, come to Miami and spar him. So I'm like, okay. I fly to Miami that same week. Meet him at the gym. I'm thinking, oh man, they about to jump me and beat me up. I go there and spar Jake. Yo, that from there was like dreams come true. So after the sparring session, me and Jake had our differences, trash talking, how, I beat up Pretty Boy. No, he never did beat up Pretty Boy, but that was like the trash talking up in April leading up to the Ben Askren fight. So after the Ben Askren fight, we're getting into June. BJ and Jake hit me up. They said, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to come train with Jake. We think you'd be a great fit for the Tyrone Woodley camp.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So you guys, I seen the one video where we had a little back and forth between you and Jake. Yeah. Like, how is it with training with him now? You guys were in Puerto Rico for training camp, right?
Yeah, I've been there since June 17th. So I ended up having my birthday out there in Puerto Rico. But, training with Jake has been eye-opening for me. Like, not just financially, but mentally, spiritually, physically. Like, I got to learn so much things from him and his team, especially from BJ Flores and Jacob Chavez and Jalen Love in the boxing aspect. But, getting to know Jake on another level besides the social media and the boxing, Jake's a really nice guy, like one of the sweetest men you'll ever meet in your life. Very humble, down to earth, family oriented guy. Like, the guy opened his house to me, like, let me eat dinner with him and his family, met his mom. Like, Jake is a very, very loving person. And a lot of people tend to not really understand that part because they see the trash talking online. But when you really get to know him as a person, you're like, yo, he's just like you guys, chill back and laid.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was going to say, in a little bit of research that I did, kind of refreshing myself with your background and your MMA fight record and stuff. It seemed like to me, I was finding more trash talk between you and Jake Paul online than I was finding between you and Tommy Fury, man. It was crazy. I'm like, wait, who's fighting on this card?
Right. Hey, where I'm from, some says I'm a legend, some says I'm a troll. You know? But hey, me and Jake had our differences, you know, and I think
there's guys out there that can be both in today's day and age.
exactly. You know, I think our differences came together when we started clashing through sparring. Like we started gaining each other respect because we would spar twice a week. And we would do like 8 rounds, me and Jake, and we go all out. We try to knock each other out. Like the respect level is there. And I never went into the camp thinking Jake's a YouTuber, because if you step in that ring or a cage, I don't care if you're a plumber, if you're a doctor or a nanny, you're a professional fighter. If you step in that cage with a professional fighter, you are now a fighter. Now, I wouldn't say professional, but you're a fighter. And he's improved. And a lot of people is going to see the improvement that he makes, you know, this coming in 10 days.
Yeah, I've been saying, you know, at what point do we stop calling him a YouTuber? I mean, the kid's in the gym every day for the last 4 years. He's a boxer now, you know.
Absolutely.
So I'm definitely interested to see what's your prediction for that fight?
I say either 5th round stoppage or unanimous decision for Jake. You know, both wins. You know, crazy people say, "Oh, you're a YouTuber, Jake," but no one criticized me because I used to be a stripper. You know, I got into MMA. I was stripping before I got into MMA.
Frankie's seen some of your stuff.
You were, I mean, obviously Jake is probably the perfect sparring partner to get ready for Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is what, 6 foot guy, a little bit bigger, right? What weight do you usually fight MMA?
55.
Okay, 55. So you're going up for this a little bit, right?
I started off my career at 145 with Bellator, because I was cutting weight at I will walk around between 180, 185, fighting down at 145s.
That's crazy cut, man. I saw an interview you did that said that when you were sparring with Jake, you were about 190, and is that your normal walking around weight? 185.
I walk around between 188 and 192, but you know,
so other than the height difference, I mean, there's, you know, I don't know how tall is Jake. 6 foot. You're what, 5'7", 5'8"? You guys were not that far off in weight.
Yeah, Jake's about 6'2", 210.
Oh wow, bigger than I thought. Okay.
Yeah, Jake, don't let the size and the paper say 6'1". He's 6'2". I say he's 6'2", especially when you're wearing shoes and you're sparring and all that. He's 6'2". But
Frankie's got inserts he puts in his shoes sometimes. So.
Hey man, every time when you want to meet a nice little girl, oh, you can cook, you can clean, nice job, great car. You short, huh? Yep, I'm short. You know, but Tommy, I'm not worried about Tommy. All Tommy has is 5 inches and his last name. That's all he has on me, really. I'm not worried about him.
Now, I know, like, obviously, where, you know, you're MMA, you box, boxing is a big part of it. Have you done just predominantly boxing before? Any amateur fights, just boxing?
I had an amateur record of 12-1.
Oh, okay. So you got some good experience.
At the age of 18, I got into it. My younger brother boxes, and my older brother, he used to box. But I fell in love with MMA at the age of 25. You know, I did my boxing early on in my teens, early 20s, but at the age of 25, I got into it and I fell in love with it as an amateur. Then I stopped competing as an amateur, started dancing. And then I met Antonio on Facebook and he was like, "Hey, come stay with me. Come turn pro. You can live with me at my place. We got Emmanuel Newton, Bubba Jenkins." This is when we were stacked. I moved here and haven't left ever since.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. When you guys are down in Puerto Rico, were you two the only sparring partners, or you had a couple guys mixing in?
Oh man, we mix it up with Jalen Love, and then he'll bring in a couple some other professional boxers or MMA fighters. I didn't know the names, but these guys, we had a guy in the UFC who fought in the UFC, and then we had a couple of guys boxing that were like well off. We had one guy who had like 60 pro fights. And then we had a Russian guy who was like, who had like 20 something fights. So a lot of these guys that Jake is bringing in to spar, they're no slouch. These are seasoned guys. Like remind you, I'm 5'7", so a lot of these guys are taller than me, and they're seasoned. You know, Jake is cutting the weight. You know, having to cut weight and spar at the same time, it's not an enjoyable thing to do, especially when you're getting ready for a fight. So I say he probably brought in about like 6-7 sparring partners.
Brothers don't losing weight just for the weekend. Never mind fight.
That's facts. That's facts. Want to make any predictions, man? How do you see the fight going with Tommy? You see it going the distance? You got any? This is your opportunity to talk some smack, man.
Man, I see a 4th round TKO.
4th round TKO.
4th round TKO or unanimous decision. Tommy, if you've seen his record, like, it's horrible. Like, how can you fight a guy who's 10 wins and 126 losses? I just
Frankie told me that.
I did see that.
I don't get that. Like, and he's literally undermining me that I'm his opponent. He thinks he's going to fly into Cleveland, get in the middle ring, and face off with Jake Paul. Like, hello, dummy. You're forgetting you're fighting me that night. And I'm going there with the intentions to hurt him. Like, I'm the underdog. I get it. You know, I don't have the fancy last name that he does. I don't have the good looks like he has for the Englishman, you know, but I'm the pretty boy. I don't get touched. This is what I do. I go in there and I get wins. I'm on a 5-fight win streak in MMA, you know, and I'm looking to carry on that streak in just combat, period. I want to be the most electrifying man in sports combat.
It seems like Tommy wants to almost use you as a stepping stone to get to Jake, for that to set that fight up. And I guess that all started through Twitter. I guess Tyson, his older brother, tweeted something about, you should fight my younger brother Tommy, which is kind of how it all started, which in the end of the day, it's good because it got you on the undercard for this fight. But I can see that you plan on putting a stop to that real quick. Obviously a win for you, and that is going to probably slump his chances at getting a shot with Jake.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I manifested this day. Like, if you go on my Twitter, I swear to God, you go on my Twitter and you look at May 31st, I think May 31st, June 1st, this is way before I even went to camp with Jake. May 31st, I called that Tommy Fury. I'm like, yo, Tommy, stop fighting these bums and come fight me. All of a sudden, now I'm really fighting Tommy Fury. I manifested stuff. I talked smack to Jake before. Like, last year, manifested like I'm gonna fight Jake one day. Watch. Next, you know it, I'm his main sparring partner in Puerto Rico. You know, look, I'm in a good position. Jake could have picked anybody else in the world to have him train with him, but he chose me. You know, and think about this though, guys. Think about this. If you're sparring with somebody and you're just beating up your sparring partner, you're not going to get better just beating up your sparring partner. You're going to send them home and bring someone else who's going to give you better work. You know that, Frankie. You know.
For sure.
So the fact that I stayed the longest out of all sparring partners and became the main guy, that tells you, okay,
get him the work he needs.
Exactly. I'm giving him what he needs. And everything is aligning to my liking. Like, I see this fight playing out with my hand being raised. I do not see myself losing. And once I beat this guy, and if he wants a rematch, I'll definitely go to England and fight him in his hometown. And I don't have a problem with that. My whole career, I fought in someone's backyard. I've never fought in Oakland, California, where I'm from. I'm always the underdog. I fought in Ireland. I fought James Gallagher in Ireland. I fought Adam Borix in Budapest. And these guys are all top 5 guys in Bellator right now. And I have no problem going there to England and fighting Tommy.
Now, do you see yourself staying in the boxing world? You're going to go back to MMA, go back and forth? What's your plans with that?
I mean, I tell you this, if I win this fight, most likely MMA might not see me for another 2 years.
Yeah.
That's an indication. I really can't say too much, but there's an indication of, okay, I see what's going on.
Part of that, I would think, has to be the money you can make in these exhibition fights, these days. I mean, does it, you're a young guy, but you paid your dues in the MMA business. You put your time in. Does it bother you at all that a YouTuber can make the money that he makes in a boxing fight with having really no pedigree in it at all? I mean, absolutely. You can't say that now, but I mean, his first fight, you certainly could have said that.
I mean, absolutely not. I applaud him. Like, look, Dana White said it the best. Hey, you guys had the opportunity to build your fan base and your following to get popular. Like, look at Sean O'Malley. Look at the fan base he made. You know, you can't be mad if Jake.
There might be a guy that could beat his ass in this room, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like, absolutely, Frankie can. Absolutely. But when you look at Jake and his followings on YouTube of his 20 million subscribers, hey, he did his job of building that base, and he bought those $20 million, 20 million followers to boxing.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. Hey,
You don't hear professional boxers getting upset with Jake, like, oh, fight me, Jake. You don't name a boxer, professional boxer you hear talking smack about Jake. They're all, hey,
You don't really hear them talking smack per se, saying that. They often use the word YouTuber, though. They often say, fucking guy's a YouTuber, you know. So they do pull it in a little bit.
He built that fan base himself. No one helped him. I mean, he had a little help with the team and family and stuff, but he built that. I think that people are haters when they are jealous that he's making all that money. Like, hey, if you go have a YouTube channel, you build that fan base, you get 8 million subscribers, and then you have them come to boxing or MMA, and then they pay for pay-per-view. You know, Logan does the same thing.
yeah, no, he did something that people want to watch him fight, but it's not even that, but that's enough. But he also is taking it serious. That's what I gotta say. He's not just a flash in the pan. I'll train for a fight here, train for a fight there. Like, seems like he's taking it serious. He moved to Puerto Rico, bringing guys in to spar. He's definitely he bought into the whole boxing culture.
Not only that, he's done a number of interviews. Obviously, him and Dana White butt heads a little bit, but he seems to stand up for MMA guys. Seems to he wants to get you guys paid.
Yeah.
I've got paid more money being Jake's sparring partner than I did in my whole career in MMA of 6 years.
Yeah.
I believe it.
It's crazy.
I believe it.
And I'm like,
that's kind of what I meant. That's kind of what I meant. That you've certainly you've got punched in the face a lot. You've paid your dues. You put your time in, and here you are, just being a paid sparring partner, and you're making more money than you did in your entire career. But I like I'm a capitalist, so I love your outlook. I believe in capitalism. I believe you can bring in the numbers. You should get paid for it. I was just curious as a professional how you felt.
Oh man, I love it. My whole life I did, I done sales growing up, had jobs, commission, performance based. I was always a performance based type of guy. And
even as a stripper. How was Frankie wants to know how was your performance?
Yeah. Hey, you throwing them Morpheus glasses?
He's fucking red. He's red pilling them out there.
Ladies, do y'all want the red pill or the blue pill? They scream out red pill. Hey, we about to throw in that red thong. You good to go?
Red panty night.
Red panty night. There you go. I mean, look. We all had the opportunity, Right. Everybody has the opportunity to make as much money as Jake can in the future if you're doing it right, if you're marketing yourself the right way. Kobe's doing it, Connor's doing it.
Not only that, I mean, you got to give Jake a little credit, even his haters. I'm not a Jake hater at all, but even the haters got to give him credit. I mean, he's done well in his boxing career. He's done well. So
we all stole a piece from Floyd Mayweather. Hey, haters, like Connor says, haters love you when you win, haters love you when you lose. But hey, make sure you get paid on the same day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's true. That's right.
This is true. I mean, it is the entertainment business. That's we're prize fighters. You're fighting for a prize, not for anything else.
That's right.
Roger fights for food sometimes.
I'm too old to fight these days. Too old to fight.
Hey,
you calling me fat?
I love the fight game. It's amazing. It's art to me. People ask me, "Oh, what type of fighter are you?" I'm not a fighter, baby. I'm an entertainer. I do it all. I can sing, I can dance, and I can fight. Look, an entertainer, you have more options to doing more things. A fighter, you're just another Fedor Emelianenko. I don't want to be a Fedor Emelianenko. I want to be entertainer. I want to be that guy who's doing those alcohol commercials, starring in movies like George St. Pierre, who has his own cologne line. I want to do stuff like that.
George's got hair now, by the way. Grew his hair out. Did you see that?
He did. Jealous?
First time I've ever seen that dude with hair.
I actually trained with George up in Puerto Rico.
Oh, really?
He was out there? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He looked at me. He was like, when I was losing the weight, he was like, yo, you're huge. I'm like, oh, who, me? Because when I walked into the gym, he's like, you look so familiar.
He was down there with Gordon, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yep, he was with Gordon Ryan and John Gallagher. He looks at me. He's like, you look familiar. I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, I know you from LA. You were the key guy. Man, I wanted to cry because I'm like, yo, the GOAT recognizes me.
That's awesome, man.
You know, we didn't get the grapple, but he's like, he just looked me up and down. He's like, dude, you're huge. You're strong as hell. I'm like, yeah, you know, a little.
It's quite
so it's good to get the ego stroked a little bit.
That's quite an endorsement from the GOAT right there.
Yeah, I was like, how much you? And I asked him, I was like, George, how much you weigh actually? He looked at me and he's like, don't tell nobody, but 183 pounds. I'm like, whoa. I'm like 193, George. I'm like, man. I'm like, he can easily make 155 if he wanted to.
Yeah. And there's that rumor, him and Khabib, but I don't think it's happening now.
Think it's ever gonna happen?
No.
He told me, I said, George, are you ever gonna fight again? He looked at me, he said, never. I got 3 kids. I mean, I got girls. I don't know how many exact number. He said, I got girls. I'm getting out here, getting off this on the high horse. I'm never going back to MMA.
I applaud that. I think you should, Yeah. There's guys that come back and as a veteran, as a guy that's watched it from UFC 1, you kind of want to see some of those big names come back.
Wait, you're a veteran?
Not a veteran. A veteran of watching the sport.
He's a veteran of watching MMA.
But sometimes it just disappoints you, man. I mean, when Chuck Liddell came back and fought Tito, I wish that fight had never happened.
Yeah.
And I want my money back for it,
Yeah.
But they're legends. They should have gone out on top, like George is saying he's going to do, because, I think it was just a better for their career,
I mean, one of those legends you can actually see who's still making themselves relevant and who's doing it is one of my other sparring training partners, Czech Congo. The guy's in Bellator. I mean, the guy's only lost twice in almost 10 years.
One of my favorite fights ever is him and Pat Barry, man. It was like knockout after knockout after knockout, and
that was special.
And Czech won.
Kudos to the referee, man. Kudos to the referee.
Absolutely, great reffing on that fight. Oftentimes you see shitty reffing. You gotta give kudos to when you see good reffing. That was amazing reffing in that fight.
No, absolutely. And Frankie, I've always been a big fan of yours, man.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
Man, I'll be on my high horse. I want to fight Frankie one day. Fight me, Frankie. It's always been an honor, man, having to compete with one of those, you're an icon. You're one of the pioneers. You might not be the early pioneers, Kevin Randleman and Randy Couture, but you're a pioneer, bro.
Thank you.
You
means I'm old. This means I'm old.
You can't mention UFC without saying Frankie Edgar, straight up.
Speaking of guys that go on to illustrious other careers outside of MMA, Randy Couture is a guy right there. He's done a lot. He's been in a number of movies. I just saw him in a commercial yesterday. The guy, he's doing a lot outside.
I tell people this right now. I said, just make sure I ain't got nobody here around me. WWE calls me, I'm done with it all. Buy MMA, buy boxing.
You gotta cut a demo. We call it a promo. Cut a promo on Saturday night or Sunday night. When you put Tommy away, you gotta cut a promo.
Oh, absolutely. You made it when you become an action figure. That's when you get your own action figure going.
There you go.
Made it Hulk, and put it right next to Hulk Hogan.
Yes, sir.
Bro, honestly, the setting, the room, you look like you're about to strip in your picture. You know what I'm saying? Where you're at, right, Tony?
Candy night.
You just said you've made it when you become an action figure. This guy's got an action figure over here.
See, that's an icon right there. That's a legend, a pioneer. See, man. Bobbleheads don't count, gentlemen. Remember, bobbleheads do not count.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we're excited. We'll be watching. Obviously, it's right in the very near future, and we're rooting for you, brother. Hope you bring home the win, the W.
Yeah,
and,
best of luck. I know Roger's definitely in your corner. He loves pretty boys. Yeah, we'll definitely look forward to seeing you put a performance on, man. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you. Hey, gentlemen, you guys gotta wait till you see the entrance. Ooh, talking about real red panty night
On Showtime, too.
Showtime.
Nonetheless, that's awesome, man.
Showtime ain't never done something like this before.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
Of course.
absolutely.
All the best, man. The rest of the way, have a good weight cut and zero in and good luck, brother.
Oh, thank you, gentlemen. You guys have a good night.
All right, take care, bro.
Thanks, Anthony.